He was the man who had everything: money, power, respect. But on that cold, rainy night, all that failed him when his luxury car broke down in the middle of nowhere, and he was forced to walk into a small-town diner with his sleepy little daughter in his arms. Daniel Blake, a high-profile CEO and single father, had taken a spontaneous road trip with his daughter Emma, hoping to give her a weekend away from boardrooms and bodyguards. But he never expected their car to break down miles away from any five-star hotel. Soaked from the rain and frustrated, Daniel stepped into the only open place he could find: a tiny roadside diner with flickering lights and chipped floors. The warmth inside was a relief, but the stares were immediate. A man in a $1,000 suit carrying a little girl into a place like this didn't exactly go unnoticed. Daniel looked tired, out of place, and far too proud to ask for help. But behind the counter, a young waitress named Lily noticed something no one else did. She saw the worry in his eyes, the kind only a single parent carries. She didn't ask who he was or what he did. She just walked over and handed him a towel and a cup of hot cocoa for Emma. "You look like you could use this more than a menu," she said with a warm smile. Daniel blinked, surprised. "Thank you. That's very kind." Lily glanced at Emma, who was shivering slightly in his arms. "She okay?" "She's just tired. We weren't supposed to stop. I didn't plan this." "Well, life rarely asks for your permission, does it?" she said softly. He looked at her again, properly this time. There was something about her. No makeup, tired eyes, but calm, kind, and entirely unfazed by who he might be. He had no idea that walking into that little diner and meeting that waitress was about to change his entire life, and reveal a version of himself even he had forgotten existed. Lily guided them to a corner booth where the heater worked a little better, placing an extra blanket over Emma's shoulders without asking. Daniel sat quietly, his eyes following her as she moved back to the counter. Something about her calmness unsettled him. In a good way. She wasn't trying to impress him. She wasn't faking a smile. She was just real. Emma slowly started sipping the cocoa, her small fingers warming up around the mug. "Daddy, I like her," she whispered. Daniel smiled, brushing damp hair from her forehead. "Yeah, me too." Lily returned with 2 bowls of steaming chicken soup. "On the house," she said, setting them down. "No offense, but you both look like you need a little more than coffee." Daniel pulled out his wallet, but she shook her head. "You can pay after your car works again. Around here, kindness still counts." That hit Daniel harder than he expected. He wasn't used to being taken care of. In his world, everyone expected something: favors, influence, money. But Lily expected nothing. Her kindness came without a price tag. They sat in silence for a while. Then Daniel finally spoke. "I used to live in a town like this, before everything changed." Lily raised an eyebrow. "Changed how?" "I lost my wife, built an empire to distract myself. But somewhere along the way, I stopped knowing how to be a person, just became a machine." She looked at him for a long moment before saying, "Then maybe this breakdown wasn't an accident. Maybe it was life trying to slow you down." Daniel didn't answer, but her words sank deep. Emma had dozed off in the booth, cheeks pink from warmth, her tiny body relaxed for the first time in days. Daniel gently laid his coat over her and looked at Lily again. He couldn't remember the last time a conversation felt this grounding. And as he sat in that dimly lit diner with a stranger who seemed to know him better than the people in his boardroom ever could, Daniel felt something unfamiliar return to his chest: stillness, honesty, and the first flicker of peace. The snow had stopped by the time morning light crept through the diner's windows. Emma was still asleep, her head resting on Daniel's lap, while Lily refilled his coffee, quietly, without speaking, just offering a tired smile. The silence wasn't awkward. It was something else. Safe. Daniel looked at her. Really looked this time. Her apron was stained, her eyes had dark circles, and her hands were rough from long hours. But there was grace in the way she moved, in the way she cared. She wasn't just kind, she was strong, the kind of strength that doesn't shout, but holds others up when they're falling apart. He hadn't felt this seen in years. "I should go," he murmured, glancing down at Emma. "We've taken enough of your time." Lily shrugged. "Stay as long as you want. We don't get many quiet mornings like this. Besides—" She hesitated, then smiled faintly. "Emma reminds me of my little sister. She used to fall asleep like that when things were hard." Daniel nodded slowly, watching Lily walk away again. Something in him stirred. A thought. A pull. He had been searching for solutions, therapy, medication, distractions. But maybe what he needed wasn't more control. Maybe it was connection. By noon, a tow truck had finally arrived. Daniel stepped outside, cradling Emma in his arms. She was still sleepy but smiling. Lily followed them out, arms crossed against the cold. "Thanks," Daniel said, turning to her. "For everything." She nodded. "You're welcome. Take care of her." He opened his mouth, then stopped. Something held him back. He looked at the diner, the snow-covered hills behind it, and then back at Lily. "You know," he said carefully, "my daughter's school is on break. And I have time. Maybe we'll come back sometime, if that's okay?" Lily's smile deepened, warmer now. "I'll keep the cocoa ready." As the car drove away, Daniel glanced at Lily in the rearview mirror until she disappeared behind them. He didn't know what this was yet, but for the first time in a long time, he hoped. A week later, Daniel returned, but not in a broken-down car, and not just as a man passing through. This time, he came with intention. Emma ran ahead of him, her backpack bouncing as she pushed the diner door open, calling, "Lily." Lily turned from the counter, surprised, but her eyes lit up. "Hey, Peanut," she smiled, then looked up at Daniel, who stood there with something softer in his expression. Something hopeful. He walked toward her, a little nervous, holding out a small envelope. "This is for you," he said. She opened it cautiously, eyebrows raising when she saw what was inside, a handwritten letter and a check. "I want to invest in you," Daniel said before she could speak. "Not just the diner, I mean you. I've seen the way you work, how people trust you, how Emma lit up around you. You deserve more than just surviving paycheck to paycheck." Lily's hands trembled slightly. "Why me?" "Because when I was at my lowest, you didn't treat me like a problem. You just saw me. And Emma? She still talks about the night she made pancakes with you like it was magic." Lily blinked away the sudden sting in her eyes. "I never asked for anything." "I know," he said gently. "That's exactly why I'm offering." She looked at the check again, then at him. "What exactly are you offering?" He hesitated, then smiled. "A job. Something close to my heart. I want you to help design a new community space for single parents. Something Emma and I dreamed of but didn't know how to make real. You'd run it, shape it, be the heart of it." Lily laughed softly, half in disbelief. "So now I'm a project manager?" "No," he said quietly. "Now you're someone who gets to be seen too." She didn't answer right away. She just looked at him, and something shifted. Two people who had met by chance were now standing on the edge of something neither had planned for, but both quietly wanted. "And Emma?" She tugged on Lily's sleeve with a grin. "Can I call you Aunt Lily now?" Lily knelt down, hugging her. Only if I get pancake privileges every weekend." As laughter filled the diner, the snow outside began to fall again. But this time it didn't feel cold. It felt like a new beginning.